That's our website, makingideas.com. I'm a person who believes that what works in Syria won't work in Iran. But let's say my Arab, right? Because of culture and stuff like that. So the global study standard is 12 slides, because the pitch is basically 4 minutes to 10 minutes. You have a chance to say it now or forever hold your peace, right? So for the 12 slides, there's the cover page and the introduction, the overview, the problem, the market, the team, the technology, which is the solution, the customers equaling to the revenue model, the go-to-market approach, competition, financials, milestones, and summary. So this is the overview. For the first slide, you need your company name. Most people forget to introduce themselves. So you meet an investor, probably Basarake is meeting people who they want to invest in. So you need to tell them who you are, right? So you need to brand it. The brief business description or tagline. Good example is autonomy, dominance, enterprise search. Sort of like something that defines who you are and what your product is. Something really catchy. So for the overview, you need to define who are you, your role at the company, why are you there, how much money are you raising, what's the scope of the money that you're looking for, how long have you been in business, how much have you raised and from whom, what are some of the major milestones reached so far. It's always good to mention what you've done and what you're looking forward to do, because it kind of differentiates yourself from a person and a PowerPoint to an actual person and something, a working model or an MVP. You all know what an MVP is, isn't it? Minimum viable product. Yeah. An investor wants to know why he or she should be listening to you. This is a good place to summarize the status of your company. Then immediately you need to jump onto the problem to define what this is you're solving. So what is the problem that you're solving? Describe the pain points you're addressing. Quantify the pain and how deep it is. So pain points for me, definition of pain points has been showing where the gap is, right? You can say, for example, sliced bread. The pain point was what? Having to cut bread every time you wanted to eat it, right? So sliced bread is actually pre-ordered and pre-cut. It's a clear value proposition, right? But you need to define where the problem is before you give people a solution. You find that for you guys in the startup ecosystem in Zimbabwe, it's very different from someone like America. America, they're trying to make my products of making people's photos look better because they have a market for that there. But Instagram, if Instagram had been a Zimbabwean company, because of data, because of storage costs, because of mobile phone penetration, it would have been something totally different from how it was received in the States. Does that make sense? Why does the problem exist? So, a problem or something cannot exist in a vacuum. So you need to give background into what it is that you're defining. Why has no one solved this before? Recently, I attended an investment meeting for one of the companies that we do it. And previously I told the person that you've got a good product, but the problem is if you're aligned to international standards. And then I know what I'm doing and everyone is stubborn, you know that. So when we got there, the first thing the investor says was, what's the difference between your product and Foursquare? Right. Then you have to see Foursquare. So research is quite critical. So the question was, why has no one solved this problem before? He thought he was the first one to do it, but it had been solved before. So you need to do research and clearly articulate with I'm the first one who's doing this. Show the innovative aspect of it. Because the difference between invention and innovation is invention, you are the first person to do it. Innovation, you're saying I'm spinning it off and I'm doing something else new from what's already been there. So I think one of the things that you have to do when you have your solution or something that you have is clearly define whether it's an invention or it's an innovation. So that makes sense. What barriers exist? there are so many things that you can outline, but one of the biggest things that you need to outline when giving a value proposition for whatever it is that you do is show the barriers. The barriers that are there will show the amount of work that you actually did to overcome what you did, right? Why are you addressing them? So this is the need. You need to show that you are addressing it because you find money value. Because the investor needs to know that there's an exit for them. Exit meaning to marry. What are their exits? So if there is no reason for you to address it, there is no reason for them to put money in it. What advantage do you have in solving this problem? So advantage you have in solving this problem, you go back to the previous slide where you tell people who you are, like skills that you have over the next person or people who tried to do it before. You want an investor to understand your company, that your company is solving a problem that really exists and that you have qualifications to solve it. Market size. How big is the problem that you're solving? Because with the previous slide as well, quantifying. So you need to be able to say, Tawanda, for example, has got a foundation that he has, right? And he found a need to a certain number of students in a certain area, they don't know how to swim, right? And he quantified it according to my stats at lower school. So that's what you actually need to do to show research, which you know where it is that you're going to. Can you quantify it? Simple. Then use the bottoms-up approach. Most people want to go for the million first before they go for the dollar, right? So bottoms-up approach is small steps that lead to the big thing. You need to clearly articulate how you're going to get to the big thing, but you need to give small steps. Investors want to know that this is a good opportunity that they can build a big business around. You need to show that the market is significant enough. The team. On your slide deck, you need to list key team members and brief history. Highlight former work together and the length of professional relationships. One of the biggest, I think, setbacks that we have in our ecosystem as entrepreneurs is we want to highlight success, and where there is no success, we generally don't want to talk about where we're coming from. But one of the biggest things that's celebrated by other people is failure. Failure shows that you actually did something, you actually tried, and you're a person who can actually admit, but yes, I tried this and it didn't work. Because chances are the investor, is someone who you've never done anything, right? People want an experience. That's why you find when you're looking for work in those ones, you need 2 years experience and stuff like that. So you need to clearly articulate who you are, where you are coming from, what you have done, what you have tried, how you failed, and what your successes have been. Highlight former startups or corporate experience. Emphasize successes and relationships obtained that can be leveraged as potential customers, advisors, or future acquirers. Especially highlight experience in venture-backed companies with successful sale. If you have one, like you said, I've done this and I've made an exit of so much, that would be great. But for most people, that might not be the case. But tell them that you sold one item of something that I invested $5,000 in, so you believe in value. It is also good to say, I did this, but I fell short because I didn't have this. So that creates the need for funding. Are there any gaps in your team that this funding will help to fill? Perhaps you say, I need my developers, I need people who do marketing, I need people who do accounting. That's one thing I can go to funding. But some of the biggest problems is when people present my financials for funding, they omit salaries, right? So automatically an investor will open page 6 of your financials. If they don't see my salaries, they know that one, they're not good with money, or two, you're lying. Because how are you going to survive what your money even can the petrol can help us? So that means if you take $5 and $10, my financials are always at home, and you don't know what you're doing. Indicator amount, right? In this slide, you want to show why you're relevant. Link the team skills experience to the problem that you're solving. No need to go too deep, except to answer about points. 8 board members were necessary, but I think for me, get the product right first before you start getting the members on board. Technology, which is the solution. So the business of innovation is the business of technology. Either way, where we're going, technology is leveraging everything that we're doing in one way or the other. What stage are you at in terms of development? Are you at the ideation, inception, or do you have an MVP, or are you doing a pilot stage? Pictures of your product, technology in action would be great, just to give people a feel of what they are getting themselves into. Screenshots of your software, if applicable, if you have them. Infrastructure before and after your technology is implemented. People want to see the change, so that's why they see the need. So if you have a before and after picture, it will be great. That is for quantifiable and for things which can actually be seen. Visual chart of how your technology works. Say what your primary product does. XYZ will enable virtual environments to be used for project sharing across different countries. Right? You need to clearly articulate what your product does. I think the best articulation of value proposition that has ever been given, known to me anyway, was by Steve Jobs when he said 1,000 songs in your pocket. He summarized the extent of what this product does, but at the same time, he gave you a few pictures, which was sort of like a paradigm shift for many people. Because back in those days, in my Walkman and my Discman, and even with an MP3, you couldn't get 1,000 songs in your pocket, right? Say how this is an improvement. So, e.g., this will allow for an average time of saving of 30 minutes for every day. So, people need to see the value. About my businesses, I don't know, tech on its own in Zimbabwe will not survive. Tech needs to be an enabler. So if you go to Delta and say that I've got a new tech that will brand your bottles better, or that will give better color, they're not interested in that. But if you tell them, I need to cut the production time from 6 hours to 4 hours, they'll definitely be interested. Is your technology defensible? By defensible, it means is something that's sustainable, something that will work today, something that will work tomorrow, which people will actually have to invest money in it. You want to focus more on what your solution does versus how does it do it. Talk about the benefits, not just the features, and don't go too deep on technical details unless the investor shows a real interest to us. Customers and revenue model. For many people, there's a mistake which they think with customers will automatically translate into profit. That's not necessarily the case with many businesses. So clearly define who are your customers. Define the verticals. By the verticals we mean define how from your product, the process, and how you're going to get them into actual customers. Because you can get the process, the product, but without no customers. Identify existing clients that you already have. Maybe people that you maybe piloted the product to. Even people who you give the product for free, they're potential clients. Once they will feedback to tell you whether they're going to buy it or they're not going to buy it. What is your pricing model? I think this is quite critical to show success. And the other thing is for my financials, I've looked at my financials where someone says they're going to make $1 million in the first year. Yeah. No. Not in this economy. Yeah. Because at inception stage, chances are in 18 months you're not going to be successful. After 18 months, that's when you start showing real value. Because you have to pay back. Because if you say you're going to have $1 million profit cut, what about the investor? He needs to get his exit, right? He needs to get his money back. There is money which you used in marketing. There is money which you used. So all of that is to kind of like go back. TV, okay, all of this. I think they're quite obvious. Investors want to know who is buying your product and why. They also want to understand the economics of the customer and how much they are worth. Investors are interested in companies who have momentum. The go-to-market approach. How will you reach your customers in an economical way? I'm sure with most of you guys who have got small businesses that you have, you want to get your product marketed to the market in the cheapest of ways, right? And that's a big challenge in the city guys. What is your distribution strategy? What channels will you use? Are there key partnerships that you've locked up? And these days, especially when you're doing something that is being produced somewhere else, maybe in China, you find that there's a partnerships used to work 5-10 years ago, where you could partner with OK, you could partner with Spa, and you had the widest reach of people who were coming in those shops because they were big. But these days, because of the vendor, right, you have to factor in the vendor. Because the vendor is going to be selling a knockoff of the same thing, half the price, just outside the door, is Spa, you're OK. So where having a partnership with OK and Spa used to meet up with data financially, today Yambo status. Because you need to reckon the numbers. So if you're not reckoning in the numbers, you need to adjust it. So how are you planning to build momentum? No investor likes to spend money going to market the old-fashioned way. That's paying for awareness and a large direct sales force. It goes to the same thing. You might want to look at vendors as well. I was talking to the guy who was now running things there, cheeses, cakes, right? So he says, I was asking him why my vendor was selling my things and my shops was selling. So he says to me, 10 around period, my shop is 30 days. And even after that, they'll pay you after 35 or 40 days. But the vendor will come here and buy 5 packs 3 times a day. So 10 around period, they're just day right. So how are you planning to build momentum? So for them, it's now a business model. We do the pivot. They are not really going for status here. If you think instead of a shop, they are going for numbers and momentum. Because they get their money faster. So they won't pay for awareness and branding, okay, but they'll pay for a direct sales force. That partnerships that you can use to get the products faster and cheaper. Competition. One of the biggest mistakes that people often make is because of lack of research and basically with a lack of statistics, we don't really catalog what it is that we do. You find that someone will say, I'm the only person who's doing this in Zimbabwe. Chances are you. Because when you get an idea, chances are 12 other people in the world are getting the idea, but maybe you don't have to it. But people actually are doing one or the other. So you need to have research. So you need to clearly articulate what are your main competitors. How are they currently addressing the problem that you're solving? That's where you show your value. But in which ways is your product superior? So I think most of you have seen the value proposition canvas. Have you? You might want to look at, not the business model canvas, but the value proposition canvas. You might want to look at it. Where are your competitors in the development stage? Behind you in development or major established market players? You find that someone wants to do a generator or something that generates power, your biggest competitor is going to be ZESA and the government, right? But you need to clearly articulate where you are, where you think you're going, and how you're going to scale. Because the 3 things about a startup, it has to have replication, it has to have growth, and scalability. Right? What direction are you moving? What direction are your competitors moving with their technology? So it's quite critical to show what these guys have been doing and how established. I always think a better opponent is someone who is already in the business. Versus someone who is at the same stage because you never know which direction they're going to go. But someone who's already established, you know which direction they're taking, and they take longer time to pivot versus a smaller unit. What IP protection do you have? I think you guys did IP with Brenda. Any investor wants to know that you know the space very well. Any investor wants to know that you know the space very well. They're depending on you to be an expert. You need to be up and to have far right. Financials. Provide financial information for your current year and previous year. Provide 5-year forward-looking projections. Provide top-line revenues, costs, and margin figures. I think what's quite critical is costs. Because if you're suddenly having something that's going to be physical intensive in terms of capital, you really need to factor in my costs. And one of the biggest things that they look at, like I said before, it's my salaries. And my costs, like I just send a telephone and stuff like that. Because if you don't put the name in the projections, right, that means 5-year projections are being wrong. Summarize again how you plan to execute this plan. Any investor wants to know that you understand.